NRHA Vendor Partner Program and Hardware Retailing Magazine. And we've got 3 retailers with us today. The first one being Tom Denault. He's Vice President of Denault's True Value Hardware. He's got 6 locations out throughout Southern California. Then we've also got Doug Bone. He's the owner/manager of Ramsey Hardware in Front Royal, Virginia. And the very last one is Vicki Peterson. She's a general partner. She's got 4 Ace Hardware stores throughout Colorado. So we've got all of the country covered for you today, so you can see kind of what advertising tactics are working. I want to thank all the panelists for joining us. And before we get started and talking with the panelists, I want to go over some of the research that we conducted here at Hardware Retailing at NRHA. Now, for the September cover story, we sent out a survey to retailers to see what was working with their advertising, how their budgets changed, has the recession affected any of their budget at all, and we're pretty surprised by the response that we got back. We thought for sure that with the recession, the advertising budget would be the first thing on the chopping block, and as you can see based on the chart here, the majority have remained the same, but it's kind of a split decision, all in the 30% range. So some people did cut their budget, but the vast majority, I guess, would say that they've kept it pretty steady, and what we've discovered is people have just gotten more clever in the way that they use their advertising budget and trying to get a little more out of their money. We also asked them exactly kind of how they determine their advertising budget and how they figure out exactly how much they're going to spend. The majority of the retailers that we talked to said they spend about 2 to 3%, and then around the 1 to 2% area. So hopefully that'll be in line with everyone's budget around here that's listening. And then we tried to figure out exactly where their dollars were going. What areas within all of the advertising world were they spending their money on? And as you can see, circulars were by far the most, or the highest percent in terms of what they're spending their money on, followed by print ads. And a lot of the retailers we talked to is mostly because circulars are so expensive, so they took up a lot more of their budget. Then we tried to figure out exactly how they're changing their budget, in which sections were they increasing, how are they kind of refocusing their money to get the most out of it. And as you can see, some of the biggest numbers I want to highlight out of this chart is you can see that 60% said that they were going to decrease their advertising budget, or they have decreased their print advertising budget in the last 2 years. But two of the numbers that were kind of the most shocking for us, so that you can see down in the social media area, 60% said they've increased their social media advertising budget in the past 2 years, and another 67.7% said they'd increased their online advertising. So you can kind of see the little bit of the shift in they're getting away from more traditional advertising like print and circular radio, and a lot of the advertising methods are getting focused to online and social media. Now, real quickly, so I don't bore you with too many numbers, I'm going to go through the main advertising methods that we focused on just to kind of give you a brief overview of exactly how they changed and how retailers are refocusing their efforts. The first one we looked at was print advertising. And as you can see, 57.9 in this area said that they are going to, or they have decreased their print advertising the past 2 years. And then looking on to the future, another 46.7 said they plan on decreasing in the future, followed by 43.9% who said they would remain the same. Now, in terms of print advertising, we're wondering exactly how often they use it, what they find the amount, exactly what's good for them. And you can see that the biggest percentage was a lot of retailers, if they do choose to use print advertising, they look to use it monthly. It is often in their local newspaper, either to promote sales in their store or even promote events. The second one we looked at was circulars, and that was kind of split just about down the middle. There wasn't really a clear indicator of the majority of retailers doing one way or another. It seems to be that it really depended on what area you were in to see if circulars really worked, and 54.7% said that in the future they're planning on keeping their circulars the same. So although they are the most expensive, it seems that retailers are really kind of getting their ROI out of them. And as you can see here, this is just another graph of how often you use circulars. The majority use them monthly, followed by every couple months, so it's not like a daily or weekly kind of issue. They see it more of as a long-term goal. Radio is also pretty split down the middle as well, with 37% saying they're going to increase, followed by 33%, and then 30.7%. And also in the future, they're saying most retailers said that they're going to keep their radio advertising just about the same. So there's not too much going on in that sector. And the same kind of goes with television. As you can see, about 35% said that they're going to keep their television advertising about the same. And in the future, about another 55% said 35% said they've changed or remain the same in the past 2 years, with another 55% saying they're going to change in the future. Now, the social media is kind of the overwhelming topic out of our survey. As you can see, the numbers kind of speak for themselves. In the past 2 years, 76% of retailers have been using social media or increased their use of social media to promote their store. And in the future, 91.9% plan on using social media or increasing social media. And you can see 0.0% said they don't or they plan on decreasing it. So you can kind of tell that this is the way that retailers are going. This is kind of maybe even the future of advertising. I mean, not only it's free, so it doesn't really affect your budget. It's really just the time dedicated to doing these kind of things. And as you can see on this next chart here, the majority of retailers use Facebook to help promote their store, and they've been using Facebook to promote sales, to promote their events in their store, and also kind of cross-channel advertise with their circulars, and we'll kind of get into that subject a little bit later. And the last subject I'll talk on, and then we'll get to the retailers, is I want to talk about online advertising. That it includes your website, banner ads on other websites, and other things like that. And as you can see, just like social media, a lot of retailers have been going online, with 73% say they've increased their online advertising in the past 2 years, and another 78% said they plan on increasing in the future, with no retailer said they were planning on decreasing it. So you can kind of tell that this is the way that we're going in the future, is everyone's kind of going online or going through the social media route. And I also want to let you know, so I didn't bore you with too many numbers, that we're actually going to have a white paper available with all the research that we conducted. That'll be available on nrha.org at the end of the week, and that's got the whole cumulative report and has everything you'll need to know about all these different kinds. You can kind of see what other retailers are doing. And now I wanted to get into the panelists here. I know I told you we've got 3 of them with us today, and they kind of represent a bunch of different areas in advertising. And I wanted them to tell us a little bit about their store and kind of the market they serve, so we can kind of get an idea of exactly what their audience is. And Tom Denault, let's start with you. Can you tell me a little bit about your store and kind of the market it serves, and guess what your main customer base is?
Sure. We have 6 stores in Southern California, 6 True Value stores. Our family's been in business since 1955. All of the stores are between 10 and 20,000 square feet. We do mostly retail business, not too much contractor, and we're in a fairly affluent area along the coast in Southern California.
Okay, great. Thanks. And Vicki, let's throw it off to you. Can you tell us a little bit about your stores and I guess the differences between them and the customers you serve?
Sure. We have 4 stores on the western slope of Colorado. The first one is in Aspen, which the picture is up now, which is in a basement with no sign. Then we go on to Grand Junction, so we're from a resort area all the way down to a retirement community. So all 4 stores are in very different markets, and also different climates. So, okay. And I am a second generation.
Okay, sounds good. And Doug, how about you? Can you tell us a little bit about your store and your market that you serve?
Yes, we've got 2 stores. We're semi-rural, suburban rural, about 70 miles west of D.C., and it's very little contractor, but mostly walk-in, just consumers.
Okay. And I guess for the next question, Doug, I'll stick with you just because you're the last one talking about how has your advertising or your approach to advertising changed in the past few years? I guess, what have you done differently?
We've done a huge increase in the loyalty marketing to specific consumers. We have reduced the amount of circulars that we do send out and the amount of circulars. So we dropped 2 or 3 circulars, and we target different areas as we do them. Obviously, we've been using a lot of social media, Twitter and Facebook, and just changing where the allocation of dollars go to try to get your biggest ROI.
Okay. And Vicki, how about you? How have you changed your approach to advertising the past few years?
In the past 2 years, we still support the ACE circulars, but we are not inserting all of them. In fact, we only insert usually the big event circulars because we found that we were not getting any return on our dollars at the cost of inserting them at all, and it was not driving footsteps. But what we have done is build websites for each store and have an aggressive email campaign, and one of those emails is also emailing the circular right to our customers.
Oh, okay. And Tom, how about you? How's your approach changed in the past few years in trying to reach your customers?
Very similar to what Vicki and Doug were saying. We've taken a little bit of our allocation away from our circulars, which are still our best performer, and we put that mainly towards our rewards program, which in our case is True Value Rewards. And we've had really good luck with that. And also, as Vicki was saying, the email program, which doesn't cost much, so we didn't have to allocate much budget to that. But we've had really good success with emailing our customers and, as Vicki was doing, emailing all of our print ads to our email customers. So the trick has been just to build our email list and try to get as many customer emails as possible.
Okay. And Tom, what would you say is your biggest challenge when it comes to advertising? Is it trying to figure out the budget, finding ways to reach your audience? I know you're in Southern California, so that's a pretty heavy media market there. But what would you say is kind of your biggest issue?
Our biggest challenge is reaching the younger customers. We have a lot of young families around here that have grown up going to Home Depot and Lowe's, and they probably, wherever they came from, the chances are good they did not have a strong independent like ourselves that they're used to going to. So we have to try to change their thought pattern and get to them first off and then convince them why they should come to our stores rather than the big box stores.
Okay. And Vicki, how about you? I know you mentioned it real quick, but I know your Aspen store is pretty unique just because it's in a basement and doesn't have any signage. But I guess overall, what would you say is your biggest issue with kind of advertising budgets?
Well, the budget wasn't hard for us to figure out. What it is the fact that it is real hard to put your arms around the fact that you've done something for so many years the same way, and to get your whole team focused on other ways of marketing your business. You know, it's like truly trying to figure out how to get to the younger market, and actually we're finding that in our senior citizen area, they are the most active with our email campaigns and responses to all the coupons we email out.
Okay.
So just the differences of trying to figure out how to get to the different markets. It's not always the same.
Okay, and Doug, how about you? Have you had any troubles trying to figure out which ways to advertise to reach your customers?
The biggest problem is figuring out what actually does work, because you can do advertising and you're usually only doing 3 or 4 items and you can see a lift, but sometimes it's also generated by things on social media, so it skews your numbers a little bit. Along with, if you run a circular, you can look and see what type of lift and did you get an ROI on it. But the smaller yellow pages in print and
that was one of our biggest complaints from the retailers we spoke to about, especially radio, TV, and print, is they had no idea if people were seeing it. And, for example, I know with radio, satellite radio came up a lot in terms of a lot of people aren't even listening to the stations anymore. So how do you really justify advertising that way? But, Doug, I wanted to stick with you. You mentioned it a little bit earlier about your use of social media, but what would you say, what form of advertising has worked best for your stores? Oh, and Doug, we'll throw that off to you. Sorry about that.
Being that you can actually do a measure of it, you're going to have to say circulars, because that's the only way that you can get a real ROI value. The other one, it's feel good, and you feel good when you see a picture out of your end cap and someone goes, hey, I went down to the store and bought such and such, and then later they're like, I'm using it. It's my first experience with a pressure canner. Hope I don't blow myself up. And then you see that. So that's, I don't know that it works best, but it's definitely more engaging and entertaining. So it's not an ROI, but there's feel good coming back to you.
Okay. And Tom, how about you? What's been working best for you?
Our circulars still drive most of our business into the stores, and they probably always will, but we feel like they're not reaching all of the customers we need to get to, especially the younger customers. And I think if we had a lot more email addresses, that might give circulars a run for their money. But we send out so many print circulars compared to the 7,000 email addresses that we have that it's hard to compare the two.
Okay, could you tell me a little bit about your use of circulars? I know you mentioned you kind of target different areas to try to figure out who gets the most response or what areas get the most response. Is that right?
Right. We pretty much blanket. We're lucky that our 6 stores are fairly close together geographically, so we can pretty well blanket the area. Mm-hmm. And then we can use coupons and do our True Value Rewards information to see exactly where the customers are coming from, and we can target our circulars accordingly and maybe drop one zone or one region and add something else and kind of tweak it that way.
Okay. And Vicki, how about you? What have you found to be the most, beneficial use of advertising?
Well, the one that is really trackable for us is our email, because everything has a UPC code on it, and everyone has to scan the email to show what we have UPC codes on it, and that has been the first time in my life I've really been able to track and know what my ROI is on our website and email. Actually, another one that has done really well for us is coupon books that our dealer group puts together. And for some reason, people are hanging on to those coupon books, and that's working well. And of course, the ACE Rewards program has always been worth it.
Okay, I'll probably make you repeat yourself a little bit, but I was just going to ask, how is online advertising help promote your store? And Vicki, I know you've been real heavy in email marketing and websites, so we'll throw that out to you first. How has it really kind of changed the image of your store, or help, kind of spread the word that it's out there?
14 months ago, I wouldn't have even thought that I would be this heavily into websites and couponing. But first of all, the response from the emails has just been unbelievable. I believe, Caitlin, I told you this earlier, that our first email, it took 18 minutes for it to be redeemed at one of our stores. So it is direct. It's going right into their house. And I think, websites has to be the center of all social media and emails and any campaigns like this. But people are visiting it. We the site all the time. So we're getting a natural growth of visitors. So I know that it's working, and to me that shows me a return on our investment. So.
Okay, could you share with us, Vicki, real quick? I know since you guys are out in Colorado, you mentioned a story earlier about when you had legislation going through that you needed new kind of bear-proof trash cans, and how you used email marketing and your website to promote that and kind of increase your sales.
Sure. The first one that you were talking about was that unfortunately we had a family a year ago, this last Thanksgiving, that passed away because of carbon monoxide poisoning. And the Aspen store happened in Aspen. The sales floor manager got all involved in it, and we helped get legislation changed so that everybody has to have carbon monoxide detectors in their homes in the state of Colorado now, and rental apartments, any place where you might be sleeping. And then the other thing is that we linked in, once again, it's in the Pickens County, Aspen area. It's also down here now in Carbondale, that we have to have bear-proof trash cans. You have to have them. And we had the link into into their bear-proof website, how you had to do and purchase what kind of trash cans, what the fines would be if you didn't have it, was linked back and forth between our two sites. It was amazing how well they worked together, because our customers could really go and find out, and also they were coming to our website through the Bear Trash.
So they knew that your store was the place to get them.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. And Doug, we'll throw this off to you. You'll probably have to repeat yourself a little bit, but how have you used social media to promote your store? Have you used it to, I know you're on Twitter and Facebook, but have you used it to promote events or specific sales, or how do you kind of I guess, use those different methods?
We've used it for the bargains of the month.
Okay.
A new seasonal product in, or a new product from a show.
Mhm.
Show that with snow shovels and salt. We had a really bad winter this year, and we were buying from 3 or 4 different vendors. And you could put it out there, and you would also see people on their phones driving out say they have snow shovels.
Mhm.
Many times with products like that, it's out on the front of the store. You bring one box inside, and the consumers open everything up and buy the rest of it. You never have to bring it in the building.
Okay. And how about you, Tom? I know you're using your website a lot, and then also YouTube to do different product videos. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we started making some videos on YouTube just about 6 months ago, and we're trying to, every month we put out a newsletter to all our email customers, and as part of that we include a new video, a product video. We just did one this past week with some artisan bread bags to keep your bread fresh that we're stocking now, and we're going to try to come out with maybe 2 or 3 videos a month, and we're getting lots of clicks on our YouTube videos. And we think we're getting to new customers maybe that don't look at our circulars traditionally or don't look at anybody's circulars.
Mhm.
And now with the whole online advertising, Facebook, Twitter, we're able to reach the customers more often than before and quicker. Kind of like Doug was saying, we just had a heat wave out here. It was 112 degrees yesterday. So we emailed all our customers yesterday and let them know, hey, we have fans in stock, and all our fans are 25% off right now.
Mhm. Did you get a lot of feedback from that?
I haven't heard on the fan thing yet, but I'm sure we did, yes.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit, Tom? I know you guys are really focused on kind of cross-channel advertising, like you have your circulars on your website and also on Facebook. Then you have your videos from YouTube also on Facebook. How have you found that to be advantageous for you in terms of, I guess, not only your advertising budget, but reaching the right customer?
Well, I think, it's helping us to reach a lot more customers, because if somebody clicks on our website, they'll see that we have a Facebook page. They'll see that we have YouTube videos. If they look at our print circular, we'll have on the print circular something about Facebook. And if somebody's on our email list, we'll let them know that, hey, the circular's coming out in the mail this week. Check your mailbox. We have a YouTube video coming out. So kind of everything works as a synergy and in conjunction with each other.
Okay. And Vicki, how about you? Have you been using a lot of different advertising methods to kind of work together? I know you mentioned you do email out your circulars sometimes.
Yes, we email out, and we're just starting to dabble in Facebook, but we've had a tremendous success. Actually, our first time doing it with promoting ourselves at a event that was happening down in Grand Junction. It was a city event, and we were able to get the message out on Facebook, and people came by and said, we saw it on Facebook. We partnered up with a radio station down there, and their DJs had thousands of friends or fans, whatever it is, on Facebook. And so the message we put out went out to all of theirs right there also. So it's pretty amazing to watch and see how it comes back to the store.
Okay. And has, I guess, email and social media advertising, has that helped you kind of counteract the cost of circulars and, I guess, more expensive methods like radio and TV? Have you noticed any of that at all, Vicki?
Yes, we have reduced our advertising expense this year by more than 50%.
Oh, wow.
So I'm very happy with. We're still doing a lot. Some radio, some newspaper. I mean, we're doing a mix. I don't think you can drop the traditional ones because you don't want the customers that you've had for years not to hear your name out there. But we're not doing as much of it.
Okay. And Tom, how about you? Have you noticed that that's helped, I guess, control your advertising budget to kind of counteract the circular cost with with promoting it on Facebook and on your website?
Yeah, the Facebook and the website, all of that is great because it's free, really, other than the cost of the personnel to run the program. And then, in my case, I'm lucky I get my wife to do it for free. But we've cut back our circular, the amount of circulars we're doing in the areas we're sending them to, and we haven't really felt any negative impact from that. So
Okay.
I think that's helped free up a little bit of money there.
Okay, and Doug, how about you? Has social media kind of affected your budget and your online advertising as well?
But it hasn't affected the budget, but you do reduce the budget from other sides.
Okay. And have you done any kind of cross promotions from your Facebook and Twitter, and also your website? And I guess your traditional uses of advertising. Have you done any kind of cross promotion?
We've done cross promotions with the circulars and Twitter and Facebook, but I don't think we've ever tied the print or radio into it.
Okay. Have you had a pretty good feedback with kind of tying those two together?
On certain items, we get really good feedback, and certain items that just doesn't hit the nerve, and they just kind of float out there in the air.
Okay. And Doug, to keep it with you, how do you see your advertising methods changing in the future? Do you see yourself focusing more on online, or I guess kind of what are your plans?
Definitely more online. True Value's got the program that's coming up to where we can do our circulars online, and you can choose to do those versus insert or a combination thereof.
Mhm.
And you can also cross-merchandise that with your website, the Twitters, the Facebooks, and whatever else anybody wants to use.
Okay. And Vicki, how about you? What do you see your advertising methods doing or changing in the future?
I believe we are going to start. Actually, I do know we've already done it for 2011. I believe that doing it over websites and all these social medias is the way it's going to come down. We're looking at ways of tying what's happening in the store directly to Facebook right then and there, and we have a couple ideas on that we're working on with a different company.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just going to tie it all together because everybody seems to have a cell phone. So we're looking at instant couponing to the cell phone and some other things like that. So we're getting into the trenches big time in 2011.
Okay, sounds good. How about you, Tom? What do you see in the future for your advertising?
Right, more of what Vicki and Doug were saying, more email, more rewards marketing, probably less circulars. There's a really interesting social networking site out there now called Foursquare, where people actually, when they come into your store, they log in with their GPS-enabled phone, and it tells all their friends they're at your store, and if whoever comes to your store the most often in any given month gains the title of mayor of Denalt's Hardware, and you might offer the mayor a special discount, or maybe if somebody's driving by your store, if they're within a certain proximity, you can automatically send them a coupon, and it's a little scary, but that's kind of where things are going right now.
Okay. Have the other two panelists, have you guys had anything with Foursquare or Groupon at all in terms of social media? How about you, Doug? Have you experienced any of that yet?
We've played with Facebook or with the Foursquare, and Facebook has also put places in, which I haven't known how to do ads. And from what I've seen with the people that you follow, because the same people are on Foursquare that are on Twitter typically, about the same demographic, is I'm having a hard time getting them to use it in the stores. You see them use it in restaurants and occasionally out at Lowe's and Walmart, but very few interactions within our store.
Okay. Do you have any plans of kind of promoting that at all in the future, or trying to get a more interactive
We will, but you also have to look to see what else is happening, because things are changing so fast. The Foursquare owned that check-in market up until just recently, and it looked like Facebook is going to make really big inroads on them. And there's also probably 7 or 8 others that we're seeing other people use.
Okay, and Doug, what advice would you give retailers who are kind of struggling with their advertising effort? I guess what's kind of been your secret to success so far?
Well, with the online, it's to set up some sort of predictable schedule so that you're there. It could be weekly, daily, monthly, but something so that there's a constant putting it in people's face so that they can think about it. Okay.
And how about you, Vicki? What would be, I guess, your secret to success or your advice you'd give retailers?
I would say look at your website, make sure it's a marketing website, what I call a static website that is just about us. Change it up so people come and look and know what's going on in your store. And whatever you do, any events or whatever it is, be collecting emails, because that's the way. Just get the emails.
Okay. And how about you, Tom? What advice would you give retailers?
I think Vicki's right on with keeping your website fresh, collecting email addresses, and I think everybody just needs to be familiar with what's going on out there and join all the social networking sites and participate in them a little bit so you're familiar with them, and then it'll make a lot more sense to you, I think, if you're familiar with them, where the best effort is.
Okay. I know we've talked a lot about social media and online advertising, and obviously it has its benefits of reaching new customers, but how do you handle, like, who in your store has their Facebook, how often they update, and same with website? I guess, Doug, you talked a little bit about it. How do you kind of handle the workload that goes with social media?
It's just one of those things that you kind of make time to do during the day, and it falls into schedule, just like doing deposits and checking your sales to make sure that everything was sold at the correct price.
Okay. Do you have any kind of plan in terms of what you're going to tweet about that day or what you're going to post, or is it just kind of whatever you see around the store happening?
Very spur of the moment, and like if there's a sale coming up or a promotion or something new, that usually brings to the forefront, but it's really spur of the moment for us.
Have you found that your use of Facebook and Twitter has kind of helped create a community within your customers, something that I guess that big boxes really can't do?
With us as individuals, yes. They like the big box for what the big box portrays itself to be.
Yeah. Okay, Vicki, how about you? I know you said you're just kind of getting into social media, but even with your website updates, how do you handle, I guess, who's in charge of that and how often you update?
Because we have 4 stores, we do have a marketing person who actually handles all of our marketing. But we do have a plan for the next 12 months on what the emails are going. But the most wonderful thing about email and social marketing is if something is going on, you can get something out to them right away, like the fans that we were talking about earlier. And that's the unbelievable thing is that you know what's going on in your community, what's happening right then, and you can get the word out right away. So you have to do both. You have to have a plan for what you're doing, but you also have to have someone who can change it. And actually, each store has a young person that's handling the Facebook for their store.
Okay.
In the store. We sign it.
Okay. Have you found that just easier that, I mean, most, I guess, of the younger generation are already on Facebook as it is. Have you found it easier just to let them kind of roll with it?
Yeah, because they understand it. It was, we talked about just a moment ago that get into Facebook and Twitter and all this stuff so you understand it. Well, these kids, they don't only understand it. Every chance, every moment they get, they're checking their Facebook and their everything else. So it's just easier to let them do it. We did set parameters that the correct way that we want them to represent the store, but they've taken it on, so they love it.
Okay. And how about you, Tom? You said you did mention that your wife kind of updates the Facebook, but how do you control the time it takes to make the videos and who's updating the website and other things like that?
We try to find somebody who's interested in that, and if it's something they enjoy doing, in the case of my wife with the Facebook and the emails, or I have a nephew who enjoys making videos and the website stuff, pretty much myself or my wife handle that. So I think it's really, if you don't have anybody who enjoys doing it, it's not going to happen and it's not going to get done well. So the secret is just finding somebody in the organization who enjoys doing that.
Okay, and I think those are all the questions I have for everybody, but what we'll do now is we'll go into a Q&A session, so if any of the attendees have any questions for the panelists or questions about our research, please feel free to either type them up to the host during the Q&A session or section of the bar over to the right-hand side of your page. And it looks like we've got one question. I think this will go out to you, Tom. What type of video equipment are you using to make your YouTube videos, and what kind of editing do you use?
I have a nephew, Kevin, who does our videos, and he has some pretty nice equipment on his own. But I don't think you need nice equipment. We have a flip video camera that we use here, and while we don't use that for our YouTube videos, we could, and I think the quality would probably look almost as good as what we have now. So there's lots of inexpensive video editing programs out there, and that are pretty simple to use these days.
Okay. And another question we've got in here are, what tools are out there for retailers to develop a great-looking social networking site, like on Facebook? And I'm not sure exactly which angle we're going with here, but I guess we'll turn this over to Doug. What would you suggest on your Facebook and Twitter are kind of the most important things to have on there? I know you have some videos and also photos of your store and your customers. I guess what would you say is kind of the most important thing to get up there right away?
The most important thing would be just what's going on with the store, because I think what most people are looking for there is the interaction, and then you start adding the videos and the pictures as people come in. I think we take pictures of pets. We've got videos of new rental equipment when it comes in, just to show people, playing on them, having fun, and it's just trying to make it non-business business. We are individuals. It's not all about running the store. Just trying to have fun with them.
Okay, and Doug, we've got another question of how do you determine your ROI for social networking like Facebook and Twitter? Is there any way for you to kind of figure out what kind of return on investment you're getting, or? I
don't know that there is a way to do that.
Okay.
If you hadn't done it and you looked at it, you could even do it over a year, because with the circular you can look at your pre-sales, then there's during the sales, and the lift after the sale. But with social media, it's constant, so there really is no way to calculate a specific lift.
Okay. And Vicki, we've got a question here for you. One of the attendees is asking, how much time does your marketing manager spend a day updating Facebook, Twitter, and even your website? I guess how much time would you think they spend a day?
A day?
Yeah.
I'll put it to a week. I think she spends about 8 hours a week on all 4 stores.
Okay.
So it's about 2 hours a week.
Okay, so that's probably about the time frame other retailers would be looking at to update these kind of things then?
I think that is a good number to look at. If you're spending any more time on that, you probably are not getting any return on your investment.
Okay.
So one thing I would suggest, any website that you have or get, make sure that you can change it very easily.
So you kind of have the control of what's up there?
Exactly.
Okay. And I know everyone kind of talked about the importance of gathering customer email addresses, and one of the attendees was asking kind of what approaches do you use to gather those email addresses? Tom, what kind of ways do you use to gather them?
We have a number of ways, the first being our True Value Rewards Card program, and the customers have the option of giving us their email address. So we encourage that, and that's the first place. That's where we've initially got most of our email addresses. We also ask Facebook customers to sign up for our email address list. And then lastly, we put cards at the cash register counters at each store where a customer can join our email club right there at the stores. And to encourage them to do that, we have a drawing for a $50 gift card once a month. And our efforts there have been real good to get new customers signed up.
Okay. And Doug, how about you? Have you been making any effort to kind of gather email addresses, or are you focusing more on just the social media?
I've kind of been focusing on the social media.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, and this is what made me do it, is there was an article in the Wall Street Journal about email being dead. And I think it's the demographics of where you are, and either it works or it doesn't, because especially with the younger generation that we're trying to find and figure out how it works, they're really not using email anymore. All IM and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and just whatever it is that's working for them and their friends are using, that's where they spend their time, and very little happens on email. We've had a couple bad emails for some of our account billing. I've actually used Facebook to contact the people to get the correct email address.
Oh, yeah. How about you, Vicki? I know you said you're pretty heavily in email, mostly because of the area you serve, but how do you gather those email addresses?
Well, we've done it all the ways that I've mentioned before, but actually we have pins on the ACE vests that all of our employees wear to say visit our website, give us your email for discounts. As soon as we do get a new email, they instantly get emailed back a $5 bounce back to our store. Off, a $5 off thing. We encourage our employees at our huddles to talk about the website and the email campaigns and stuff like that. So we business cards. We segment our B2B customers. We ask for the business cards. We send them different emails. So we're doing everything just like everybody else is. Any way you can get it out there. So.
Okay. Another question we just got in is what email programs are you guys using to send out these email marketing campaigns? Vicki, what are you using?
I think it's Drupal. We're with a company called Footsteps Marketing, and they build our websites and handle all the hosting of our emails, even though there are emails, but they host them for us. Very easy to upload emails to. Actually, we don't even have to do it if they go through the website and get the bounce back.
Okay. And how about you, Tom? What program are you using for your emails?
We're using Constant Contact, which seems to be a real popular big brand name. And it's nice. We can, when somebody joins our email list, whether it's through our stores, through our cards on the cash register counters or through our website, it automatically starts generating a series of emails, and it'll send them a welcome email with a coupon. And then 2 weeks later, it'll send them automatically send them another email that explains our rewards card program. You can kind of build an automated email system that communicates, as many times as you want with each customer.
Okay. And we did talk a lot about social media, so we've got a lot of questions about that coming up. Retailers and attendees are interested in kind of what you guys are doing. One attendee asked, with social media being a large part of your advertising budget, have you noticed that sales are up because of it at all? How about you, Doug? Have you noticed any increase in sales with your use of it?
I can see an increase of sales of particular items when you do something about it, but not an overall lift.
Okay. And how about you, Tom? Have you noticed, I know you say you promote products through your YouTube and also on your Facebook and websites. Have you noticed any increase in sales due to it?
No, just because it's not that big yet. We have so many customers, and a really small percentage of them so far are coming from social media and the rewards program. The social media and rewards program are much more effective than traditional advertise at getting people into the store. But until you have the bulk of your customers signed up that way, it's never going to amount to as much as your traditional circular advertising.
We did notice in the research that we conducted here at NRHA is that social media was huge in terms of increase in use, but a lot of the retailers said it's more about building a community rather than increasing sales. It's more about promoting your store against the competition, promoting your store against the big boxes, and kind of creating that, I guess, kind of small-town community on Facebook or Twitter. So it wasn't necessarily sales-based. It's more of they'll think of you on they see you on Facebook, they'll think of you next time they need a product. Okay, we got another question here about Facebook in particular. It says, what kind of Facebook page is best for your business? I know there's the fan pages versus the business pages. What would you say is kind of, I guess, what methods are you using, Tom?
I was afraid you were going to ask me this because my wife handles all this.
I'm putting you right on the spot.
And I know they changed it a while back, the way they do and what they call, they're not fans anymore. People just like you. So I'm a little fuzzy on all that, to tell you the truth. But I think, you could look at our Facebook page and find out, but I don't know exactly what they call the type of page that we have.
Okay. Well, I'll probably put you on the spot again, Tom, but we've got a question about in terms of specific age demographics on your on Facebook pages. Have you noticed that it's a younger customer, or is it kind of a mixed bag?
We haven't compiled anything, and I don't know that there's a way to compile a list of all of your customers to see how old they are. We have a lot of retired people in a lot of the communities we're in, and we're definitely not seeing as many retired people on Facebook, on Twitter, on Yelp. It's definitely more of the younger crowd, and I'll call that, by younger, I'm going to say 50 and under in our case. And I know Vicki was saying that they have a lot of seniors on their email program, but we have not found that so much yet.
Okay. Doug, how about you? Have you noticed kind of a specific age range that you're getting on your Facebook and Twitter, or is it a little bit of everybody?
It's the 18 to probably 40s, maybe early 50s is there. And seems like a lot of the parents in the 40s and 50s are on it, and then the kids are also on it as the teenagers. That 25 to 35 seems to be a hard one to hit.
Okay. And Vicki, how about you? I know you said you're just kind of getting into Facebook, but for your email marketing and your websites, can you kind of tell us a little bit about the difference in age ranges and what you've experienced?
Well, the funny thing that I found was that the one market that is definitely lower middle class market, which has all the families, the young families, I thought they would be the ones that would be redeeming the most email coupons and the coupons off the website, but I found that's not true. So actually it's the retirement community with the emails. But I did read something recently, and I'm not sure where I read it, that was saying that Facebook, the growing number of people going on Facebook are in their 50s and 60s now, percentage-wise, that they're growing. So I think it's going to span all age. In the, like I've said before, I think 2011, 2010 is where we start dabbling in this. But in 2012, I think it's going to become all the social media is going to become a true where we should be marketing our business. Okay,
yeah, I have noticed that. Although I think Facebook, I guess, started with the younger generation, a lot of I guess kind of the middle-aged generation, you'd say, are kind of getting on there to not only communicate with their family, but communicate with their children if they're away. It's kind of just getting a use of, it's not just for, I guess, the college student age range anymore. It's kind of really branching out. Another question we've got here is if you guys know of any kind of templates that retailers can use to start their website, or if there are any specific templates you used. Vicki, how about you? Are there any templates that you've used, or I guess what would you say are kind of the important things to be on there?
Well, I believe definitely what you're doing in your community needs to be on there, but do vendor showcases, do coupons, the circular being right there on the front so that they can go and look at your circular. We have pictures of the crew and the store and things that are going on around town. So just the best thing to do is have it changeable so you can market to what's going on. So just don't let it be static at all. But that's the only thing I can really say. I mean, if you've got a new vendor, like somebody was saying that they showcased something new that they found at the show, put it right there on the front page of your website too, coming. So featured items.
Okay.
And things like that.
How about you, Tom? Have you used any kind of templates, or do you work with True Value on your website?
Right. We use the True Value website program, and of all the online marketing, that's probably the weakest part of our effort right now, and we need to improve that. And as Vicki was saying, the website, when people land on your homepage, we need to have something there. It's something that's going to benefit the customer and offer a coupon, a discount, not just the traditional, here we are, we have 6 stores, da-da-da-da-da. That's not doing anybody any good. So we need to be a little more dynamic and try to give the customer more on that. They say you've got 10 seconds to keep their attention when they land on your homepage or whatever page they land on. So I think that's something that probably most people need to work on.
Okay. And Vicki, we've got a few questions here directed just for you. One attendee is asking, how often would you say you send out emails to your customers?
Best practices is about 2 a month.
Okay.
So we do find at the holidays you can get away with a couple extra ones in there. So, but it is best practice is about 2. You don't want to do it. And one way you really can see if your websites are working for you is how long there's reports out there, Google Analytics that once you learn how to read them, you can see how long people are staying on your website, and like that is something you really need to measure.
Okay. And this attendee is also asking you, Vicki, do you also participate in ACE's email campaign?
We used to do all of them. We are now down to the 8 major rewards email campaigns. We felt like they were not really targeting our customer and driving them into our store with what they were. Actually, we proved that They sent out one to all of our rewards customers, and then we sent it out, the very same one, and changed the UPC code on it, and ours did better than theirs did. So they're opening up because it's coming from our stores. You know, I'm not saying that Aces is any good. I'm saying pick and choose what's right for your store and supplement.
Yeah, that's exactly what the next question was for you, is if there's any confusion between your store's email database with Footsteps Marketing and your Ace Rewards database. Do you have any kind of overlap issues with that, or is it kind of just you have to pick and choose wisely?
We pick when the Ace Rewards is going out. We do know when that's going out, and we don't send one at the same time. But we've had no problems with that at all.
Okay. Another question we've got here is for a retailer who's got a smaller budget, what advice would you give who are if they're looking to build a website with a small budget? Tom, what do you think about that? I guess what advice would you give someone who's got a small budget looking to build a new website?
Well, I think if you're a Ace or True Value store, it's easy because their website templates are inexpensive or free. If you weren't a part of a co-op like that, I think you probably need to find somebody in your organization, you know, probably a younger person who's familiar with that, who could do it on their own. The problem, if you go out and hire somebody to do it, is it's not going to be dynamic, and they're not going to change it as often as you need to. So you really need to have somebody in the organization who can do it. Otherwise, it's just going to end up being a static web page.
Okay. And Doug, how about you? Are you heavy with your website advertising? And also, do you use any specific kind of templates or programs?
We're moderate with it. We use one of the True Value web templates, which is really easy to change, so that you can do that on the fly. And we also have the original one that we put up that we learned that it's pretty static because you got to get in there and change the code to see what's going on. But it was there to put rental items that people were looking for, and we get a fair amount of traffic because of that, because it's the information they're looking for.
Okay. Are you still finding that your social media efforts are still working better than just a regular website?
I think it is, because the website isn't dynamic like the social media is.
Okay, Vicki, we got another question for you.
Okay.
You're popular, but this attendee is asking, do you have any trouble trying to obtain emails from your Ace Rewards database, or do you have to record them all individually as people sign up? We did have trouble, but I'm going to answer one more question just before that a little better. There was 5 Ace retailers who did not like the direction that the websites were going through Ace, and so we started our own company designing websites just for Ace retailers. So we have 3 different designs, and we're representing quite a few Ace stores right now with this company. Okay.
So we do know how to get those emails from Ace. The hardest way is to cut and paste them. Do I suggest doing that? No. But start collecting your own right away, even before you start building the website.
Okay. And this is going out to everyone. One attendee is asking if any of you guys use billboards to help advertise. Doug, how about you? Have you used any billboards at all?
In probably 14 years, I think we've used 3.
Yeah, so I'm going to say that's probably a no.
And we're also in a state that doesn't allow new billboards to be put up, so it's only
really?
Virginia does not allow new billboards to be put up.
Okay. How about you, Tom? Have you used any billboards at all in the past?
No, like Doug, we don't have many billboards in our area. I wish we did. It seems like it would be great, a great form of institutional advertising, but no.
Okay. How about you, Vicki? Any billboards?
We just did it for the first time in all of Alpine's history down in Grand Junction, because we're not allowed to put up too many billboards either. And actually, all we did is take pictures of Chris and one of the store managers and put our website information up on it.
Okay, sounds good. I think those are all the questions we have so far. If we didn't make it to your question, what I'll do is please just email them to me, and we'll get those questions answered right away. And before we end, I wanted to let you guys know that on NRHA.org, or also on NRHA's YouTube page, youtube.com/NRHATV, we've got videos from Denounce True Value and also Alpine Ace, so we please suggest you guys to go on there. You can check out a little bit about both of the stores with two of the panelists that we had today, and kind of you see a little bit more about their approach to advertising. And like I said, at the end of this week, we're going to have the white paper available. It'll be the ABCs of Advertising white paper. And what it is, it'll go through all of the research that we conducted. It'll have graphs for every question we asked, so you can kind of see a little bit more. We touched on a little bit about the research earlier, but if you wanted to see a little bit more, it'll be up on the website. And if you have any questions at all, here's my contact information. It's kfoley@nrha.org. If you have any questions about the white paper or getting some of the research or even more questions for our panelists. And I want to let everyone know that this webinar will also be available on nrha.org since we've been recording it, so that should be up there shortly. And I wanted to thank all my panelists for attending today and taking the time to speak with us and share some of their advertising approaches. And I hope everyone has a really great day. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.